back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you are new here, hi, how are you doing? My name is Vanessa and I am a psychic medium. All my booking information, all that kind of stuff is down below. I hope you guys are all doing well. So I wanted to make a video about Caylee Anthony. If you're not familiar with Caylee Anthony, I'm going to play a clip and give you guys a little bit of a refresher course real quick. I was torn. I was really torn. I didn't want to talk about her, but then because the special on the Peacock channel came out and it was a 3-part like docu-series and it was Caylee Anthony finally telling her truth and just all this kind of stuff, right? And I didn't want to watch it. I really didn't, but I caved. I watched it. And now I have some opinions that I want to talk about. And before we get into those, I'm going to go ahead and play this like little before we get into those, I'm going to go ahead and play this little refresher clip for you guys. The Caylee Anthony case like literally took the, country by storm, especially Florida. As being a Florida resident, I actually lived literally 5 minutes away from this lady. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip and I'll be back.
In Florida, police are investigating the disappearance of a 2-year-old toddler. The little girl was not reporting missing for 5 weeks. The mother, 22-year-old Caylee Anthony, is under arrest on charges of child neglect and obstructing the investigation. The child's grandparents say they have a gut feeling their granddaughter is still alive.
It's been 10 years since the start of one of the biggest unsolved cases in American history. In July 2008, Caylee Anthony's grandmother reported that Caylee had been missing for over 30 days. In October, her mother, Caylee Anthony, was charged with Caylee's murder. In December, they found the body less than half a mile from the family home.
Caylee, what can you tell us about Caylee?
This controversial case created a media firestorm that drew the court of public opinion to a fever pitch.
Next time I see you or anyone else on my property, I will file charges on you. We got kicked on that.
The jury has reached a verdict.
The jury found the defendant not guilty.
Ultimately, the trial ended in an acquittal. In the intervening decade, there have been no further charges and no justice for little Caylee Anthony.
Okay, so now that we played that clip and it gave you guys a little bit of a refresher on what exactly the Caylee Anthony case is about, I have my phone down here, like I said, and I have some notes, no particular order, just certain things that I want to point out. Some have to do with the docuseries and some have to do with prior to the docuseries. So in no particular order, let's get into this. Now, the whole Zanny the nanny theory is completely out of the water now. Caylee Anthony did admit that that was a complete lie, and she did the docuseries for sure. I'm not sure if it came out afterwards. I think it was just more found out by the police that she was absolutely lying. Now, what I do think Zanny the nanny actually was, is I do believe that she was giving her daughter, or microdosing her daughter with Xanax, aka Zanny, or Zanny bars. Growing up in that era, that's what we called them. Now, I didn't do them, but that's what, kids on the street called them. So that's what I think that theory really came out of, is that, Zanny was involved somewhere, but it wasn't a person, it was a pill. Okay. Another thing is that I feel like after the Xanax wasn't doing it anymore, then Caylee Anthony did move on to chloroform. Now, in the docu-series, a different one that I watched, and this docu-series that just came out on Peacock, they did try to make chloroform. And there was a lot of search history on the, family computer under Casey's login, right? That was password protected, that only she had. She was researching chloroform, but in the car, after the car was found, there were chemicals that were linked back to chloroform. So I feel like, she tried, or maybe thought, like, well, maybe I should make it. And that was too difficult. So she found products where, chloroform was a very active ingredient. She was dosing Caylee with chloroform afterwards. So speaking of the family computer and history on the family computer, again, under Casey's login when no one else was home, okay? And I'm not trying to laugh or anything like that. She drives me absolutely freaking bonkers. Like, girl, we all know that you did it. Like, we all know that you did it. It's not some crazy conspiracy that people are trying to make up. None of your lies ever added up. You continue to lie all the time. You lied in this series. You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, and you hurt your baby. You hurt your baby. Okay, so, also searched on the family computer was foolproof strangulation. Yes, foolproof strangulation. Under Casey's login, when no one else was home, 10 minutes after her father left for work, which she admits. Caylee was found. She was found with 3 large pieces of duct tape over her face. Now, granted, this was like a 2-year-old girl, 2 or maybe 3-year-old girl. Very small, petite little face, like literally half the size of mine because I have a big old head. There was 3 large strips over her face, and it all covered the nose and the mouth area. My theory, for allegedly for entertainment purposes only, is that she put the duct tape over her mouth, and I think that she smothered her with her hands or a pillow. And I hate to say that. And a lot of people say, well, you know, there's so many videos and pictures of her being such a good mom, and she loves her daughter. You know, Chris Watts loved his daughters too, and then he threw them in oil tanks. Loving your child and appearing to love your child in video and picture and in front of other people does not mean that you won't hurt your child. Just saying. Okay, another little thing that I wanted to pick up on was, so when all this happened, right, there was 30 days that Caylee Anthony was missing, that Casey didn't report it to anybody, didn't report it to the cops, didn't tell her parents or anything like that. Now, the whole entire time she's seen, like, out in nightclubs, partying, you know, living her best life, getting tattoos, hanging out with her boyfriend. And one thing that really is slid at the wayside a lot of times is she committed a lot of check fraud while her daughter was missing. Now, she went to various stores and wrote bad checks. She stole a checkbook from a friend of hers and was writing bad checks all over Orlando. Now, one place in particular that there is footage of that she was writing bad checks was at Target. Okay. And there is, again, footage of her putting her goods on the belt and all this kind of stuff and checking out and writing these bad checks, okay? One thing I noticed is that she always seemed to have like a lot of alcohol or beer or whatever. And I'm looking at all of the stuff that's on the conveyor belt. And she's buying a lot, like I said, the alcohol. She's buying clothes, little toiletries, things here and there. I never once saw any baby items, baby clothes. And I'm not talking about baby. I'm saying baby, like she's a toddler. But I never saw any children's clothes. I didn't see any little kids snacks because, you know, all of us parents know that kids have their own like special little snacks. I didn't see any diapers. I didn't see any wipes. I didn't see pull-ups. I didn't see any little hairbrushes or little bows or toys. You don't see any toys. No stuffed animals, no nothing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 9 times out of 10, as a parent, when you go to the store, you're leaving with something for your kid. Something for your child. It doesn't matter if it's a necessity, you know, something they need or something that they would just like to have, a little outfit, especially a place like Target. You have everything at your disposal there as far as necessities and clothes and just books and just everything. Stuffed animals, toys, everything. You mean to tell me that you went to Target multiple times and wrote bad checks and you never once got anything for your daughter? That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like you knew that she didn't need anything anymore. Why would she need it if you unalived her? seems to me like you knew exactly where your daughter was when she was missing for 30 days and didn't report it. Just a thought, you know? Now, another thing that I wanted to bring up was the smell of human decomp in her car. She claims that it is because of trash bags that were left in her car. But, you know, these animals, these dogs that are smelling for human decomp, they are trained to be able to clearly decipher between what is garbage and what is human decomp. That smell is a smell that you will never get out of your mind. You will never be able to let it go. And when I was younger, I had the great misfortune of smelling human decomp. It was a body that was in a house that friends of mine had discovered. It was in our neighborhood, and the person was sitting there in a chair for 2 weeks before they were discovered. Now, I promise you that that is a smell that I do not even need to close my eyes to remember. It will be burned into your memory, your mind, your smell encyclopedia for your whole entire life, for the rest of your life, and you will never get that out. So, you know, there was this whole theory of, you know, the human decomp. Was it trash or was it human decomp? I firmly believe that it was absolutely human decomp. Another theory that Caylee Anthony throws out there in this docuseries is that, and she contradicts herself, that I think that the first one was in episode 1 and then she contradicts herself in episode 3. She said that when Caylee went missing, her father George stormed into her door and was like, "Where's Caylee? Where's Caylee?" And then there was this big jump up between, you know, her and her father looking through the house, the backyard, and everything like that. Now, she then threw out this theory, her possibly going into the pool, even though there was no ladder up to the above ground pool, and she could have possibly drowned in the pool. She said that her father picked Caylee up. Mind you, apparently she was soaking wet. This is what she says, that Caylee was soaking wet. And Caylee was put into Casey's arms by her father, George Anthony, while he's yelling at her going, "Look what you've done. Look what you've done." Now, 2 episodes later, in the third part of the 3-part series, she has claimed again that she was trying to find Caylee and she was holding her daughter and she wasn't wet. So then she totally debunked and disproved this whole accidental drowning theory that, you know, she threw out there. And, you know, what's really frustrating to me is that she's a fucking liar, like I said earlier. And she's such a bad liar that she can't even keep her story straight. She contradicts herself, and there are so many inconsistencies. It literally drives me nuts. Honestly, to sum this really up, I'm sorry that this video was kind of like a mess and all over the place. But if you want to watch the docuseries, go ahead and do it. You know, they really did a good job in the docuseries, especially in the beginning, because she would say something and then it was edited in a way to like kind of contradict her, and you can see how she's not being truthful, how she's lying. But then after about halfway to the end of it, they started kind of victimizing her and kind of making it seem like, oh, poor Caylee Anthony, she's had to hide and all this kind of stuff. She murdered her little baby girl. She deserves zero sympathy in my book. If you can hurt your child or a child to begin with, you get absolutely fucking nothing from me as far as sympathy. Don't give a shit, won't give a shit, not gonna tolerate the shit. It's just not going to happen. Not for me. I honestly feel like if you are someone that really likes true crime and you're curious about seeing the docuseries, go ahead and watch it, but it's going to make you mad. If you really pay attention and you can see the inconsistencies, it's going to make you mad. Anyway, guys, that's really it for this video. I'm sorry it was a mess. My thoughts are just all over the place about it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.